Okay, so let's take a look at what the starter program, the game template that we gave you, is kind of doing. It'll kind of reinforce what you hopefully thought you already knew. So if you'll scroll up to the top, we'll kind of go through this a little bit. At the top is a few things you don't really need to worry about, just kind of things to get Python and Pygame library going. Things we need to start paying attention to. The dimensions of the screen are done right there, so your game size, your window can be changed. Once you have a bunch of pictures selected, make sure they are in the images folder in your game folder, and it works best with PNG files, and then this will convert them over into another kind of format that it uses internally. Don't forget you can also resize images right here if you don't have a photo editor. Okay, if you have transparency like a background that you've removed, and that will work only on PNG files, will not work on JPEGs or bitmaps. You can use this to maintain that. Alpha is a measurement of transparency. If you use this convert alpha command, it will maintain your transparent background. Otherwise, it'll be white. Okay, if you're going to have sounds in your game, you can preload those up right here. Make sure they are in the sounds folder. And I'm using wave files. Those are very common sound effect files, but they can also be used for music and that kind of stuff, or background, and or voice or audio or voiceovers, that kind of stuff. Okay. If you're going to have any kind of text to display on the screen, like a score or messages or dialogue, you get to pick what font and what size those are, and you can call that whatever you like. I have a small one and a big one. You can have as many of those as you like. You can do those up here before your game starts. Here is the game title you will do. And if we scroll down a little bit more, we start to get into the user-defined variable section. And if you're going to have colors of your text, this is where you define various colors. These three numbers represent the R, the G, and the B value, red, green, blue value. The range is any number can be between 0 and 255, okay, where 255 is 100% of that, and 0 is none. And if you were to go online and search for RGB color codes, you would find all the numbers for pretty much every color you could ever want. Okay, and then the rest of these variables here are just things that you're going to want to keep track of during the game. You know, your score, and your location, and how many gold nuggets you found, and how much time is left, and what level you're on, and all that kind of good stuff. And so eventually you'll probably have, some of you will have 30, 40, 50 variables. And so, okay, so next we start to see stuff happen on the screen. Here's our introduction welcome screen. I think I have 2 or 3 lines of welcome messages. And then I think we wait like 5 seconds to give them time to read it. And then our game starts. Okay, so this code right here from line, 70 all the way down to line 107. Eventually, many of you will have hundreds and hundreds of lines, some of you even thousands. That's your main game loop. Most of our game code that's going to be happening throughout your different levels and your parts of your game is all going to go down here. This loop, this entire set of code executes approximately 60 times per second. So it's really fast, and it will be as smooth as we would need it to be. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to be doing continuously is to check for user input. You know, maybe that's keyboard, maybe it's mouse, maybe, I think it even works with joysticks. This is just keyboard control, and so this crazy code right here basically is Python's way of interacting with Windows to find out, hey, what is the user pressing? Okay, and if he presses the X key, you know, then go ahead and exit. Alright, if he presses, or if she presses the right arrow button, move Zargon to the right by 3 pixels. And so you'll have a bunch of different characters here. Okay, so if you do hit the right arrow key, Zargon moves to the right. And if he keeps moving to the right, and eventually moves to the right so much that he goes off the screen, meaning in mathematical terms his X value is larger than the width of the screen, which makes sense, he's way over here, then immediately shuffle him back to the left-hand edge, and he can respawn on the left-hand edge simply by changing his X value. Okay, and the last part for this demo is going to be the drawing section. This is where we draw or redraw everything on the screen. Okay, and so the way this happens in game programs, they wipe the screen clean and fill it with a solid color. Okay, and then draw all the pictures in the order from the furthest back to the furthest front. So the first thing we draw is the background, and pictures always draw from the top left-hand corner. So it always wants to know the coordinate you would like to display that picture at based on its left-hand corner. So background is going to be top left to bottom right, so we'll always use a 0, 0, and it shouldn't really move. Zargon, on the other hand, does move around a lot, so he has an X and a Y value, which is changing throughout our game. And so we'll always just display that wherever that X and wherever that Y is. Okay, last couple lines here. These are just system commands, which actually tell the video card to actually display all those new pictures we just did. And this code right here just tells our computer, as we talked about before, to execute approximately 60 clicks per second. So if we run this, we're going to see there's our title screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our game starts, and there is Zargon, and if we hit the right arrow key, we can go to the right, and I believe if we go so far to the right that we go off the edge or the screen width, we come back on the left hand side, and there you go.